Hey everybody, welcome back to Breakfast with Bob from beautiful Edmonton, Canada. My name is Bob Babbitt. We're brought to you by Master Spas, SFuels, Go Longer, Quintana, HOKA on Form Smart Swim Goggles, Zoot Sports, the original triathlon brand, Premium Plus Sports, and our Challenged Athletes Foundation. We now raised $147 million and sent out over 40,000 grants to challenged athletes all over the world. Our next guest, two-time Ironman 70.3 world champion, Ironman world champion, and truly one of the legends of our sport, Mr. Sebastian Kienle. How you doing, bud?
Yeah, I'm doing all right.
Yeah?
Not perfect, to be honest, but yeah, I'm here, and that's pretty good. And you were not lying when you said beautiful Edmonton. It's definitely beautiful.
Don't you think?
I did a run this morning, like really early in the morning.
Yeah.
On the river. It was really beautiful.
It's a pretty place to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you've been in the sport for as long as you are, just getting to a starting line is pretty cool, right? Just coming to different places, and because I think, especially after COVID, you appreciate racing more.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
Don't you think?
Absolutely. I've been in Canada the last time in 2014.
Yes.
For 70.3 World Championships in Mont Tremblant, and I mean it's just definitely one of the nicest things that comes with the success in the sport and being able to travel to see the world. I think I would have not been able to do that when I made other choices in my life. So therefore, it's definitely cool. And not just COVID, I didn't race as much. It's basically my third triathlon, my second big race this year, and it's it's almost the end of July. So I mean that's a lot less racing that I've done in the past.
Yeah, well, and especially when I looked at 2019 was really a phenomenal year for you, right? When you look at third Ironman Worlds and fifth at 70.3 Nice, second Ironman Germany, seventh St. George. You won Heilbronn, you won Challenge Tamarin. That was a great year.
And I thought this is just the beginning
right.
of definitely what would be a very strong end
right.
of my career. And then it came a little bit different. I still remember training in Fuerteventura at the beginning of 2020, and I was in great shape for Ironman South Africa, and then COVID hit, and I have to say I definitely I since then I just struggled with a lot of things, and I'm still struggling a little bit, to be honest, and but I'm happy to be here, and well, it's almost, what's a little bit funny is Jan texted me the other day, and thanks, Jan. Can you remember there was this sports TV channel Versus, I think was the name.
Versus, yes.
Is it still around? I don't even know. I don't think so.
It was OLN, Outdoor Life, and then it became Versus. Yes,
and
I think it's gone. Yeah.
Yeah. But the ad for that channel was pretty good, and we are still doing sports. They are not there anymore, but the ad is still great. And well, if you have time, Google the ad versus underdog speech, and this is pretty good. And it's great to race as one of the absolute underdogs again.
Isn't that fun?
Yeah, and I one saying that's just pretty good. The odds may be stacked against you, but what the odds don't know is this is not a math test. This is not a math test on Sunday.
Exactly.
What the odds don't know is how much you still burn for this. And I still burn for this. So, yeah, we're going to find out what that means on Sunday. But the odds are definitely not with me.
Well, but you know what? I mean, you can look at paper and stats and all that stuff all day long. You can't measure heart and gut, and what's cool about this race course, it's technical, right? It's 3 loops in a swim, and then on a bike, it's a lot of punchy little uphills, and there's ways to get away because it is 20-meter draft rule.
Absolutely.
So there's going to be a lot of position changes, I think, and it'll be fascinating.
What's also really great about this race is, of course, it's a race about the win, but having the prize money so deep, you know. The thing is, for a lot of guys, especially those who I mean, in the professional part of triathlon,
Right.
I mean, especially the guys who were in the you know, in the second line,
Yeah, right, second group.
they suffered a lot. I mean,
Oh.
financially in the last 2 years, and for them it's a great opportunity. So it will be like a fight for every place, not
Right.
just for the win. You know,
Well, how many races did you go to where you finished 15th and get 10 grand?
exactly.
Right,
That's
that
it.
doesn't
And I
happen.
mean, you know, I've done the run this morning with Peter Hemmerich, for example.
Yes.
I mean, he has to feed a family with the sport, you know, and I mean, he didn't had a lot of great races. So for a lot of people, it's a great opportunity to make some bucks, and so therefore, I think it will be a fierce race for like the whole field. So don't switch off on Sunday.
Well, and people know that even if you're between 20th and 40th, you're getting 2 grand, which sort of helps cover getting here. So you're
Absolutely.
probably not going to go home in a hole.
Yeah,
So there's
absolutely.
no reason why not to go for
And
it.
I mean, I don't want to make this the Kona sham show because it's not. But as a professional athlete, I mean, traveling to Kona, for example, this year, if you come from Europe, you probably end up spending like something between 15,000 euros
Yes.
for the trip, and that's just for you alone.
That's without
So
the family.
imagine what you have to bring on race day just to cover the costs.
Right, just to be break even.
Yeah, I
if
mean,
you
if you're
don't
not
place-
if you're not within, I would say top 8, top 5,
Yes.
you're gonna end up having a big loss,
Right.
and that's destroying the sport for
It's very hard.
for some people.
Yeah,
So
no question.
it's it's definitely difficult, and I mean, Ironman is not to blame for that, for sure
No.
not. But yeah, it's great that we have a race here that, you know, the people will fight for a 15th place at the end. Yeah.
No
That's what
question
I will do. I mean, I will fight for every place.
Well, because there's a grand or a couple between each one.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. Well, as long as you mentioned the PTO, what they've done is, I think a lot of people would not be professional athletes any longer if it wasn't for what they did this last couple of years in supporting folks based on how they finished in 2019
Yeah.
for 20 and 21. That
Yeah.
they kept people in the sport.
Yeah, and they kept the racing interesting, and I think this race will be very interesting.
Yeah, good television is getting better and better and better. It's sort of changing the game. So, as a dad now, a proud dad, with your little guy, how fun has that been? And does he have a sense at this point what Daddy does?
Oh yeah, I don't really think that he knows what Daddy does, but whenever I show up in cycling apparel, he's looking at me like. And the funny thing is, he's not really interested in anything. And when the TV is on, he's
Right.
never looking into the TV.
Yeah.
But when cycling is on or some running is on, he's definitely interested. That's really funny to see. And yeah, I mean, it has been challenging for sure. I mean, before I left, the little one was a little bit sick for the first time actually, and oh yeah, it breaks your heart when you
Right.
see he looks at you and he doesn't know what's happening. You know, he's like he just started to walk, and so he tried to get up, but he was still too weak and just falling down on his face and. Looking at me puzzled, like doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
yeah.
why I'm so weak. I just got strong, Dad, and I was like, I feel you, my son. I feel you. I know exactly how you feel. Like, but sometimes you fall, and you have to get up one more time. Yeah.
So when you look, you're at a point now where you've already announced that next year will be the final year. And obviously, when that happens, you start looking back a little more retrospective and looking back at the career. When obviously, 2 big wins, 70.3 and Ironman Kona, but you're also one of those guys who just loves the great races. When you've gone side by side with Jan, win or lose, or Lionel, and what are some of your favorite moments from the sport?
Oh, we can talk easily an hour
Yeah.
about those, but. Yeah, often I mean the people always see the wins, but often it's other races where you it's probably not felt great, but then you ended up winning the race because you were just stronger than your doubts, stronger than the adversity that you faced on race day. For example, 2019 when I won Challenge Samorin, the championship.
Yes.
I had a really bad day, but I kept fighting, and at the end I won the race, which was really a surprise to me, because if you would have asked me in the middle of the race, I would have said like,
I'm done.
No way, I mean, there's no chance. And then also coming back after, dropping out 2018, and I mean, at the end of 2018, I was almost, retiring, because I woke up every morning and I was just hurt. And then I did the coaching change, and then with 2019 being able to challenge Jan in Frankfurt, ending up second place there was a great feeling, and that gave me a huge motivational boost. And I think, like you said, 2019 was a pretty good year, and I remember quite well some of those situations in the races, and I love to look back on those. But also, like you said, I mean, sometimes you look back a little bit more than I did in the past.
Yes.
And there's some very good memories. Yes. I mean, even in races where it totally sucked,
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, sometimes you still remember how great that was. Like Mont Tremblant, for example, it was just great surroundings, and it was just beautiful there. So, I hope to go back there next year probably.
And I think sometimes people underestimate just how, I think we both appreciate how great this sport is and how it changes so many lives. And obviously when you're a pro and you're sort of at that top end, you hang out with the other pros, but you've impacted a lot of age groupers who I'm sure also impact you.
Oh, absolutely. It's especially right now when you're struggling a little bit, and don't perform at that level that I wanted to perform in this year. Sometimes it just, it also feels really, really rewarding when you get a letter from an amateur, and he's telling you he started triathlon because of you, lost 40 pounds, and totally changed his life. And I mean, honestly, that's often it's far more important than any win. If you change a life like that, I mean, at one point you won everything that mattered to you, and then you ask, but what did you really do for the greater good? Yes. And if some age grouper wrote you a letter like that, that's the greatest. And and then this goes also the other way. Even in St. George, people stopped on the side of the road and cheered me on during their race.
Yes.
This is just amazing.
Yeah, it's the great thing about our sport is the fact that a typical age grouper like myself can be on the course with you.
And actually, when the typical amateur gives you kudos,
yes,
he knows exactly what it means, because he was out there. He experienced the same thing, If you get respect from somebody who doesn't know anything about the sport, it's a total different thing. But if you get respect from somebody who finished Ironman Hawaii at the same day you did,
yes,
I mean, that really means something, because he knows exactly what it means. Yeah.
Well, and because he's able to say, hey, how bad was the wind for you at mile 50? How hot was it for you?
Exactly.
And from your perspective, you're going, I can't believe you were out there 15 hours. I was out there 8, and that seemed way too long.
Absolutely, absolutely. And when I'm finished with training, I just lay down and get my recovery boots or whatever. Yeah, and
they're starting their work and the family
and I
and
mean,
the rest of it. Yeah.
Especially now with having a family, I really understand what it means to be an age group, work and have a family and still perform on that level. It's amazing.
So you've been such a big part of this sport. I can't imagine that when you're done racing, that you're done with the sport. I'm imagining you're staying in some way, shape, or form. And I don't know if it's coaching, if it's just being a mentor to people. What do you think? What do you want to do after sport? Because the one thing about our sport, you guys retire and you're very young men when you're retiring from this thing that has been all-consuming.
for a very long time, I thought I would have nothing to do with the sport anymore because it absorbs your life for such a long time. Like, it's a 24/7 job. Everything you do, what you eat, how you sleep, everything is somehow related to your performance on race day. So I thought I wanted to have a really like a complete break from it and would have nothing to do with it anymore for at least a certain period.
Yeah.
But now I'm not so sure anymore. And
You
that's
love it too much.
Yeah, that's for a couple of reasons. The great thing really is I see changes in the sport that I've not seen for quite a long time. And it's great to be still on the course during these changes. And but I want to help the sport and the people in the sport, so I will definitely stay involved in one way or the other. And then on the other side, I quite liked my job as an expert in German TV, co-commentating, for example, at Ironman Germany. I quite like that. I mean, at the end, I don't know where it leads to. Maybe I'm doing a little bit of all these things.
You can do any other sport.
But I still want to do something that is not related to the sport in some way. But I mean, I think you have asked me before, and that's the most important thing is that I want to support my wife.
Yes.
If she wants to do something, in her career,
yes.
She supported me now for such a long time, and now especially with the little one, it's really a huge thing, and therefore, I let her make the decisions, and then we'll see. If she doesn't want to do anything, I will be fully involved in the sport. But I mean, there will still be enough time to do something.
So when I was watching Ironman St. George, and I'm watching Lionel, right? And I see Lionel, and he, out of the water, and there goes Sebi and Cam and Sam, and he sits back. And then he finishes the bike, and he changes in the run shorts. And I'm sitting there. Sebi's going to be really proud of Lionel, right? Yeah. He is going to be so proud that Lionel is doing his own race, that he's doing his thing, and he's becoming so good at this sport. Because you were there when he was training for the 70.3 and then going to Ironman and blowing up. And then he was doing 5 Ironmans in a row and going to Kona. You saw all the mistakes. And
the thing is Lionel saw all the mistakes by himself. It wasn't that Lionel was just doing stupid things and didn't know that it was stupid. No, he knew that it was stupid. But the problem is he was doing it either like in a total different direction or doing the same thing again. And sometimes I was just like, Lionel, if you just go back and read your own old blogs, like from 2 years ago or 3 years ago, you would find already all the things you have done 2-3 years ago, and now you're just doing them again. That's the reason why you're not. I mean, Lionel is winning probably the most races in triathlon right now in non-drafting.
No yes.
And but he's not winning the big ones. And I mean, even if St. George probably wasn't a win, I think it was definitely a win for him because the level Christian is on right now, I think it was pretty clear that he's almost untouchable.
Yes.
And like you said, I mean, Lionel being so smart in the race and actually executing what he knew, what he should do, and not just
not
racing.
Guessing.
Yeah. And I mean, it's. Some people say like, but you have to race with your heart, and I agree, but there's still enough time to race with your heart. Then you can still race with your heart 20Ks into the marathon.
That's what he did. He raced the last 10K. He raced with his heart in his gut. He laid it out, and got second place.
And that's the thing. I mean, the Lion, he's not running around in the desert the whole time like crazy, getting exhausted and not, bringing down any antelopes. At the end, the Lion is just waiting in the shade, and then it's like boom, and
Game over.
Game over, yeah. And that's what he did, you know. I mean, yeah, it was pretty impressive. Not just from a performance standpoint.
It's funny, though, because while I was watching that, I'm going, Sebi would be so proud.
Yeah. I don't know if it really means anything, but yeah, I mean, I was definitely really impressed, and I'm also very happy
exactly.
for him, yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because I feel like he's just getting started.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like that he's got such, his trajectory is going straight
I mean,
up.
the thing is, I know when he came on the scene, and I still remember, I think I met him at the Oakley house in Kona one day, and that's the first time when I really like saw him face to face, and I think that was 2014 maybe?
Yeah.
After he just finished fourth in Mont Tremblant and did an amazing race there, and he was very open with his training and everything, and I looked at it and I was like, this is completely nuts. Like this guy has no clue what he's doing. I mean, he did like 120k bike ride and I don't know 25k off the run, like a week out from the race or something like that, in the middle of the day, like in total heat. He was running faster than, and it would have been a world record. I think. And I was like, this is not very smart, my friend. But yeah, do it. And we all thought like he's gonna blow up. You know, he's gonna be injured. He's not gonna make it.
Right.
And well, he's still around.
He's still
and
around
like you said,
stronger.
I think yeah, and I think he's improving. So he's still improving, and that's the important thing, is that he is still like constantly improving everything. And it's difficult to predict, but it's great, you know, because your heart still goes with the guys that come from like non-drafting background, and so yeah, I hope that he will be a factor on Sunday.
No question. Always a pleasure, Sebastian. Thank you so much
Bob.
for taking time. Always such a treat.
Thanks.
I appreciate Sebastian Kienle. I feel like it's been first time we chatted we chatted on radio, and then Kona in, was it 13? I can't remember which year. They're 14. We all every year.
1800 something. You were like 30 years back then.
Yeah. I was young.
Yeah.
I was young. Hey, everybody, thanks for tuning in. Again, this is Breakfast with Bob from beautiful Edmonton, Canada. We will be right back.